Hey folks, welcome back to Todd Bosley's world famous YouTube channel, the home of Ohio trading coin and jewelry. I'm going to show you a penny today you can make a lot of money with. The 1909 VDB. VDB, who even knows what it is? See this right here? Right there, the VDB. That's the initials of the guy that created this coin. And a lot of people don't even know about it. There are 28 million of these that were made. They're still in circulation today. And frankly, you could probably get them in your change at any store. Let's look at the back of the coin. This is a special holder that was made for this coin. A lot of people don't know about it. You can find these. I found two this week. I'll show you right here. Now, they're not in the greatest shape. Don't get me wrong. The better the shape, the more that they're worth. But even in this condition, they're still worth 20 bucks, 20, 30 bucks. Something that's in a really super nice condition could go up to 1,500 to 5,000. So it just depends. But let's take a look at this coin and let's understand why it is so hard to find. So let's start with the history of the coin. I'm going to show you a photo right here. This is a photo of Theodore Roosevelt and the sculptor of this coin. His name was Victor D. Brenner. Now, he was a Jewish guy, and he was incredible. He had great talents in sculpting coins. So, Teddy Roosevelt, on Lincoln's 100th birthday, decided we were going to get rid of the American Indian coin, the Indian penny, and we were going to go to the Lincoln penny. So, for the first time ever, we had a face right here, Lincoln, that we could recognize. It was the first time we ever saw a penny for almost 200 years of somebody that we really recognized. That's what makes this coin so significant. And a lot of people will find this, think it's a wheat penny. They'll sell it for 2 to 4 cents. They don't understand that it's worth a lot more money than that. So that's the purpose of this video, is to show you and teach you about this coin. So when you find a 1909, you look to see if you can see these initials right here. So let's look at the holder this comes in. It says 1909 VDB penny, America's first Lincoln cent. Just weeks after its release, this scandalous 1909 VDB Lincoln cent stopped production. While most Americans loved the new penny, introduced for the centennial of Lincoln's birth, the first circulating U.S. coin since 1793 to show a recognizable portrait, some were outraged. They claimed that designer Victor D. Brenner made his initials too large at the bottom of the coin. Honestly, folks, I'm going to stop reading here for a minute. If you look at the bottom of the coin, you need a magnifying glass to even see it. And most of us probably need a microscope. It was very little. So anyhow, a lot of people were outraged. And then, of course, newspapers caused such a scandal that the mint director stopped the presses and a new initial free dies were prepared. Only a small portion of the historic first year issue Lincoln cents carry the infamous initials. I'm telling you, there's a lot of these out there. There's 28 million that were made at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, let's just say you're lucky enough to find a 1909, and right here it has an S on it. There were only 484,000 of those made. Many of those are still in circulation. They are not out of circulation. Those start at about $600 and work their way up. They go very high. So in pennies, if you look at this penny, this is what they call a brown penny. But then there's also a brown red, and then there's a red penny. So if you find a red penny, which has a red tone to it, those are worth like 5 to 20 times more, depending on the condition and the color and all the different aspects that go along with it. But this is a penny you could just not even really realize. You might think it's just a regular wheat penny. And unless you have a microscope or you have a magnifying glass to see this VDB, In 1909, this is what you got to be looking for. Flip that coin over on the reverse and see if it says VDB. And if it does, you are instantly in the money. Another fact about this coin, which is really interesting to me, is when the designer made it, he forgot to include, and I don't even know if you can see it that well, but above most pennies, it says "In God We Trust." So because that was not above Lincoln's head, that delayed the production for over 2 months. They had to wait until they could get "In God We Trust" on the coin before it could be released. Then once it was released, these initials were perceived to be way too big, which I really don't think they are, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section. But I'm using an iPhone, and I'm really focusing in. You can barely still see his initials. I really don't. I don't think this was a case of him putting his initials too big on the coin. I just think it was different for America. Roosevelt loved Lincoln. He thought he was the greatest president that ever lived. He thought that he saved the Union, and he may have. But this coin just has so much history, and these coins are floating around all over. You can get them in your change today. And eventually, they're going to get the appreciation that they deserve, because they definitely have not gotten the appreciation they deserve, for sure. Most people don't even know about them. They don't know the history behind it and all of that. I'm going to read you just a few things about it, and I'm going to show you just a couple other coins that came in this week. These are both 1909 VDBs. Not really in that great a shape, but still worth 20 to 40 bucks. Guarantee you that. And I don't know if you can see that. See how hard that is to see? It's not easy to see. And of course, copper, because 95% of this penny is copper, they assume all kinds of different tones, and they corrode in different ways. Just think about copper plumbing or copper wiring, how that all goes. You just never know what you're going to get. So these are all browns. There's no red browns. There's no reds here. But that's how it goes. So let's just talk about the controversy. So on October 6, 1909, the Washington Post proclaimed VDB cent doomed. The initials and their replacement on the coin met with displeasure from the Secretary of Treasury, Franklin McVeigh, who had either not seen the coin's design or did not look at it closely before the minting began. I'm going to bet he didn't even look at it. This guy's like Secretary of the Treasury, right? He's like, well, I'm Secretary of the Treasury, and I'm just going to approve whatever because that's what Teddy Roosevelt told me to do. So he didn't look at it. He screwed up. And so now he's like, oh, what are we going to do? So the artist Brennan told the Washington Post that he would write to Secretary McVeigh and demand an explanation. He stated that the design was accepted. The first dies actually had his full name on it. So think about this for a minute. This guy, he negotiated, right? So now he just puts his initials on it. Before he had his whole name on it. Now he takes his whole name off. He puts his initials on it, and they're still tearing him up in the papers. That's hilarious. All right, so let's go on. So on August 6, 1909, the Evening Chronicle in Charlotte, North Carolina, reported that the pennies would be withdrawn, and the Treasury Department has already started collectors on rounds to gather up pennies and withdraw them from circulation. So even in 1909, they were trying to get rid of these things, and they didn't because they're still in circulation today. So the Evening Chronicle goes on to explain that they also reported that a limited number of the pennies were struck in Philadelphia and no more would be made. But don't remember that San Francisco made 484,000 of these, so they're still on the loose. All right, so the speculation. After the news about the Lincoln penny change got out on August 5th of 1909, the St. Louis Dispatch reported there was a frenzy in New York as people went to get quantities of pennies they could save and resell to collectors. The rumor was that the penny would be withdrawn. The first rush for the coins were the newsboys. Soon the pennies were being resold for 25 cents. So in 1909, they were selling the same penny right here for 25 cents. So things were already getting out of control. Soon the pennies were being resold for 25 cents on August 12, 1909. The Alabama Times in Montgomery, Alabama said there was a high demand for the pennies after people realized the penny may be withdrawn from circulation. The Lowry Bank was the only bank which was supplied with the pennies, and they distributed them to all their lifelong people that banked there. News soon reached New York that the mint still had millions of the pennies, and they would not withdraw the design. The new information caused the price to go from 25 cents to 20 cents, and then 15 cents, and then 10 cents, and 5 cents, 2 cents. For 5 cents is basically where they ended up. So people basically realized there was a whole bunch of these that they didn't think there were, and there weren't, and there were, and there weren't. There were 28 million of these made. Well, there were actually like 28.5 million of these made. That's why there's still so many in circulation. But this coin is finally getting the respect that it deserves. 28.5 million from 1909. They're still in circulation. People are looking for them. And my point to all of this is a coin that is routinely overlooked. A lot of people don't understand it. To be honest with you, I didn't understand it for many years. I've understood it for many years now. But this is a coin that if you find in good condition could be worth thousands of dollars. It's a wheat penny. A lot of people save wheat pennies. I'll bet you if you're watching this video right now and you save wheat pennies, you should go look at your 1909s. Now get out your magnifying glass and see if it says VDB behind it. And then see if you got a brown, a red brown, or a red. And let's go from there. And if you have a red and it looks like it's in good condition, or even if you have a brown red, you really probably ought to have that graded. NGC is a good company. PCGS, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of them, but we can get into that a different time. But anyhow, if you get it graded and you got one of these coins, it's worth some money. So this is definitely worth looking at. This is a good coin. It's a coin that's going to be worth a lot more money than if you just put your money in the bank. Folks, thanks for watching Todd Bosley's world famous YouTube channel. We have all kinds of videos. I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll check out my other videos. I love coin collecting. I love finding things that are rare and hard to find. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.